Hi, we're here with Brother Tim Coldwell, the visitor for the province, New Orleans, Santa Fe province, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Can you tell us what brought you here today?
Part of my pastoral role is to visit with the Christian brothers and LaSallian partners in the New Orleans, Santa Fe district in our educational and evangelizing ministries. St. Michael's, of course, 152 years young, is one of the places that I visit on a regular basis. Oftentimes, when I'm in the community, I'm pretty much zeroed in on the lives of the brothers, their needs, their prayer life, their needs, especially as senior brothers. But when I'm here, I also make a point of visiting with the administration, key faculty, and naturally, of course, the young people.
Give us some advice in terms of how we can support, as lay people, can help support the brothers and the mission here.
Well, certainly the partners in the LaSallian mission are already helping us. We Christian brothers are laymen in the church, and so we feel an affinity and a certain resonance with the lay people who are working here in Santa Fe, whether in an intentional, formal way as faculty, as counselors, as coaches, however that might take shape in a school environment, but also in the wider educational community. We think of our alumni, we think of our parents, we think of all those who are associated with St. Michael's, with the College of Santa Fe, and now with Lewis University in Albuquerque as helping us to continue our evangelical and educational work. So prayer, naturally, is something that we welcome. Prayer for those who are engaged in this daily ministry of calling people to God, winning hearts to God, as our founder, John Baptist de La Salle, reminds us, but also in terms of offering themselves for supportive ministries. Young people need a culture in which they hear God's call. So they need a culture in which young people can feel that they belong to the communion of saints. It's an unseen reality, we all know that, but we introduce them to the transcendent through the actual living examples, incarnated examples of Jesus Christ. So we ask all of our lay partners to be present to young people in such a way that they are encouraged, animated, given a sense of hope, so that they can see in the midst of the difficulties, the trials in their own life, the movement of the Spirit. And they only believe in that movement if they're with other people, adults especially, who have an abiding love for them. It's through that love, which is manifested in so many different ways, that young people learn that God is real, that God is not simply a concept, that God is not just something that is something you have to believe in, something that is a part of an institutional reality, but that God breaks into their lives, breaks into history, and is inviting them. So we ask our partners, we ask our educational community to support us through their living example of the love that Christ has for them.
Perfect. One last question for an invitation for vocations.
We certainly believe in a culture of call. We dedicate ourselves to trying to build up in our schools a culture of call. We don't just choose on a personal level what we're going to do when we grow up. So we try to open up the imagination and open up the heart of the young person to an awareness that God is speaking. Now, we don't hear that voice except in two or three main ways. One, through participation in the sacraments, in an encounter that's intimate with the living God, but also through that loving interaction with others. And then thirdly, perhaps most importantly in our society, silence. It's in the abiding, rich silence that young people can hear the voice of God. So, my invitation to all of us, to all of our listeners, to all those engaged in educational work, all those parents, all of those people in our wider church community, let's look for opportunities to create prayerful silence, silence not just in our churches, but silence in our homes, silence perhaps in the activity that young people have. But we have to model that. We have to model the ability to turn off our cell phone, the ability to set aside busyness and activity. We have to schedule into our lives opportunities where we're simply present. We have to look for opportunities to observe the Sabbath, either on the Sabbath day itself, but also during the week, so that young people can come to see this example and appreciate its value in their own life. Then God's voice, and God has not stopped talking to us, God has not stopped calling, then God's voice can be heard. So I invite all those who are able to, in their encounters with young people, to invite them into silence by exemplifying that.
That was great.
Okay.
That was great.
All right.